Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome today to a review of a style of watch that I look at maybe once a year if I'm lucky. They're just not all that common. It's a tonneau cased watch. Bit of a rare bird then, but a style of watch that I always enjoy, partly because they're just so different, partly because the change of case shape necessitates changes to other components that always leads to a really interesting and unusual design. And they wear really nicely as a bonus. I think everyone should have at least one tonneau style watch in their collection. So that's the case for tonneau cases then, if you see what I mean. What about this particular watch? Is there a case to be made for ownership? It is the Trafford Crossroads. It's their second model and it launches on Kickstarter in a few days' time, the 1st of November. Now you saw the pop-up. This video is sponsored by the Trafford Watch Company. I will therefore, of course, leave a link to their website in the description of the video. You can sign up there for notification of the Kickstarter campaign launch in a couple of days' time to make sure you get those all-important early bird prices. So what are those all-important early bird prices, and is it any good? Let's flip the camera and find out. Okay, well, I'd normally start with a quick look at the Kickstarter campaign, but the draft isn't ready yet, so let's start with a quick look at the Crossroads listing on their website instead. 4 different colour variants are available. Now, to play on their Texan roots, Trafford called them Blue Bonnet, Mockingbird, Cabernet and Agave. Us non-Texans would probably call them Blue, Grey Blue, Burgundy and green. All dials have a strong sunburst effect, as you can see here. There's also a heap of wrist shots on their website, which I think is a good thing. The on-paper dimensions of these tonneau case watches do not reflect how they actually look or feel on wrist. It's just over 36mm depending on where you measure it, but it wears very much like a 40 or even a 41mm round cased watch. There's plenty of information here also on specs and materials used as well to help you with your research, including talk of a Seiko VH31 powered Mecha Quartz 3-hander. I've only got the auto to show you, but a VH powered version of this will be a really interesting proposition, to be honest. And it seems like Trafford are determined to do things properly, even from the very outer packaging. This custom white sleeve will vary depending on which of the 4 colour versions you go for. I've got the Blue Bonnet, a Texan Wildflower, so mine came with a picture of a blue bonnet on it. Very nice. The rest of the packaging is also very nice. A long flat case containing some bonus goodies. There's a sticker to show off your loyalty to the brand, a very attractive double-sided coin type thing, fun if not fundamental, and a proper 2-year warranty. Of course, underneath all of that, there is a watch. I think it's a good looking watch also. There's enough going on with colour and with that sunburst to keep it interesting, but it's not over the top or jarring at all. It's definitely something you could run as a daily if you wanted to, but personally, I think it's a super casual weekend watch at its heart. As I said, don't rely too much on the on-paper dimensions with this one. I'll show you wrist and pocket shots later on. At its widest point, I measure the case to be 36.5mm in diameter. At its thickest point, I measure it to be 11.4mm thick. Lug tip to lug tip though, a very wearable 45.5. 20mm lug width, and on the supplied leather strap, it weighs in at a very reasonable 79 grams. So what was I talking about in the intro then? What components of the watch does the case shape dictate are different from regular round case watches? Well, the crystal for a start. It's sapphire, but it's curved rather than double domed. This gives a completely unique effect when you move the watch around. Now it is quite pervasive, there's no getting away from that distortion, so if you're not into it then you're pretty much stuck, but I think it goes really well with the overall tone of the watch. It's also a very interesting case on this one. It's a one-piece design plus a screw-on case back that I'll show you in just a second. So the transitions aren't perhaps super sharp, rather they flow into each other. That curved side profile is a recurring motif of this watch. It loosely represents the horizon, so you know the model name is Crossroads. It's about opportunities and decisions and travel and all that kind of stuff, according to the marketing material anyway. It's a nice looking case in profile. The sides look good in high polish. The bezel looks good brushed. That's definitely the correct way around, and it's a cracking crown. It's got the Trafford Watch Company logo on it, or at least one of theirs logo on it, and it's slim and it's recessed into the case for a more comfortable fit on wrist. The strap is pretty comfortable as well. It's fairly basic Italian leather, embossed to a reasonable level of thickness, well stitched, quick release, and with some well finished angular hardware on it, featuring another one of the Trafford Watch Company's logos. And the dial and hands are rather attractive, I think. Everything is just printed on, but it looks good. There's a central recessed section that mirrors the overall shape of the dial, and then beyond that, the overall shape of the case. Again, that's really nice, that kind of concentric effect. The sunburst effect is prominent, but I don't think it looks cheap, and they've managed to squeeze a fair bit of text on there, but I don't think it looks crushed. And the whole thing is surprisingly legible because they've stuck, by and large, to a white on blue colour scheme. The printed numerals are in a very pleasing font. The lack of date keeps everything super symmetrical as well. They've used orange to offset the white and the blue, with the second hand painted orange and the automatic print under the model name and printed minute markers on the rehaut. Skeletonized syringe hands finish the whole thing off, and they are just the right size considering the unusually shaped dial that they have to circumnavigate. Powering the Crossroads is a Miyota 9039, that's the no date specific version, so 24 joule hacking and hand winding, but only in one direction of course, and featuring a custom rotor. Again, that sloping horizon effect features on the rotor as well, which is a nice touch, keeping that theme going. I must say, I love the case back. This isn't the first tonneau that I've said the same thing. Because of the shape, because it is screw on rather than screw down, case backs on these watches just look beautifully well integrated. This one is made of sapphire, just as the glass on the front is, and features some admittedly rather small printing around its outer edge with a bit of a spec sheet, etc. Again, another nice touch. Lume. Now you wouldn't necessarily expect tremendous lume on a watch like this, especially as the dial is only printed, but it's actually pretty good, and those skeleton, syringe hands and bold numerals look super cute when you turn the lights off. If I turn the speed up though, they begin to struggle after 10 to 15 minutes, which is probably 2 to 3 hours of real world equivalent. This is only a prototype though, so do bear that in mind. And on wrist, as I said a couple of times already, it wears really sweetly. I've got a 7-inch wrist and it wears kind of like a 40, maybe even a 41, but with a short lug to lug. It has plenty of presence though, yet it remains slim, and you get that ever-present distortion and flecto from the curved sapphire crystal. Now a little further back, and you can see it in a bit more perspective, brands are always keen to emphasise just how differently this style of case wears so that people aren't put off by the on-paper dimensions. And a pocket shot to finish. I'm sure Nathan Trafford, the brand owner, didn't quite envisage this one being paired up with a lemon yellow t-shirt and purple iris pattern shorts. Well, I'm sorry, my blue bonnet ones are in the wash today. Alright, moans and niggles then, and I do have a few today, but then again, don't I always? I mentioned it a couple of times, flecto is ever present with that curved sapphire. It's not a deal breaker at all, but from certain angles, yeah, you see more of the flecto than of the dial, so do prepare yourself for that. And this is a prototype, but there was a little bit of crud on the dial at a couple of points near the 2 and the 11, and the printing of the 2 of the 12, if you see what I mean, had a little mark on it. And the sapphire crystal wasn't quite sitting level at both ends. As I said, forgivable on a prototype, but they want to make sure that the production units are properly QC'd. And then there's the price. Haven't really talked about price yet, have I? So what are these early bird specials? Well, the autos are $499 USD, the quartz are $399 USD. They are offering a $25 discount per unit, but only for the first 24 hours of the campaign. Now I appreciate that prices are going up across the board due to inflation and transport costs, etc, etc. These are small batch watches with high costs and low margins, but a 10 to 15% price hike means that I am 10 to 15% less enthusiastic than I would have been. I mean, those prices are okay, but they're only just okay. I would have loved to have seen them, well frankly, at least $50 sharper each. The regular RRP on the auto is going to be $799. I'm not sure if they'll sell too many at that price. $799 for a Miyota on leather from a brand that doesn't have much of a status or following as yet anyway, might be a bit of a stretch. $549 RRP for the quartz is actually a much better deal, but people probably won't see it that way, will they? And finally, is there an air of familiarity about this one? Do you think you've seen a similar design to this somewhere else before? Trafford, in their press release, talk about moving to a new brand language that they call Modern Americana, featuring strong typography with modern colours and patterns reminiscent of the hand-painted signs of the 1950s. I wonder what Fairer, who are a British brand, call a very, very similar brand language that predates the Traffords. Modern Britannia, perhaps. Now, I can't blame Trafford if they did indeed refer to Fairer for inspiration, but as discussed, I don't think they're quite at the point where they can charge fairer prices yet. Overall though, I still think this is a lovely watch. The available colours are really nice, it looks great after dark, I'm into the K shape, and there's some really nice touches like the slimline recessed crown, the printed sapphire caseback, the custom rotor, and frankly, it's great to see the VH31, even though I didn't see the VH31, getting some love and being offered as an option. I wish more brands would do that. People need to realise what a great option they are for an accurate, robust movement with zero maintenance cost that still looks like an auto. So if you're not opposed to quartz, don't rule that one out, saving $100 into the process. So there you have it, a really nice, cohesive, well thought out watch overall. This one looks good, some lovely touches, and it seems like Trafford are keen to look at the overall buying experience with nice packaging, etc, etc. The price could have been sharper though. I would have loved to have seen some early birds, and I think they might struggle once it hits full RRP. Good luck to them though, I'll be watching the campaign with interest. If you're a fan of this style of watch, I haven't looked at many, why not check out the Badger or something a little bit different from Seiko's Presage line. Thanks for watching, see you all again in a future video, I hope.